everybody, welcome to A Healthy Profit. Today we are on part 2 of our Investment 101 series. This week's topic of conversation is compound interest and what is compound interest and how can it improve my total wealth. So we are using this handy compound interest calculator to really take a look and visualize how this can truly help us. So I want to take a moment and explain to you what compound interest is. If you did not yet read the blog, compound interest is when you earn interest on the money that you contribute to your investment, plus you earn interest on that interest. So it is a double whammy, and it is a perfect example of the snowball effect, where your money can just grow and grow and grow because, again, you're earning interest on the interest. Let's say you are a 55-year-old individual who plans to retire at the traditional age of 65. You will be able to deposit $300 to your investment. Please note that we will be using an 8% rate of return, and we are using 8% because the stock market on average over the long term has a rate of return of about 8%. Just note that this rate of return is variable. There will be years where you earn much more than this, like in 2019. But then again, there will be years like 2020 where the rate of return is much lower due to economical downturn. So on average, we will just say that the percent rate of return is 8% over the long term. And you plan to do this in 10 years, right? Because you're 55 and you want to retire at 65. If you were a 55-year-old just starting to invest by age 65, you will have made $54,000. Note here that you've made $18,000 just on the interest. In total, you have deposited yourself $36,000. So in a sense, you deposited $36,000 and you got $18,000 of free money. If you look at this chart here on this side, you can see that the majority of the money is your deposited money. Compound interest really hasn't helped you all that much as you've only been contributing for 10 years. Now let's say you are a 45-year-old and you plan on retiring in 20 years. So you have 20 years to invest $300 per month. Let's calculate this and take a look at the changes. Wow. Now our final balance is $176,000 and we have made $100,000 in free money. At this point, we have made more in our interest than we have deposited. Okay? Year 16, you've made $58,000 in interest and you've contributed $57,000. So at year 16, we finally start to make more in our interest than in our deposit. At year 16, the true effects of compound interest start to really show effects. And this is a perfect example of that snowball effect. All right, even better. You're 35 and you plan to retire in 30 years. In 30 years, you'll be 65. You still plan on contributing $300 monthly to your investments. Now let's take a look at how much money we can make. Wow, even better. The total interest has now increased to $339,000. You can see here that the graph in interest that you're making is incrementally increasing. So the true power of compound interest comes in time. It's about patience and leaving your money in investments for as long as possible. Now, if you say you're 25 and You plan on retiring at 65. That gives you 40 years to invest. We are going to keep this $300 monthly deposit so we can keep everything equal here in our example. When we calculate this, our total interest is $900,000. You guys, our wealth is growing exponentially in this case. If we leave our money in for 40 years and we allow compound interest to do its thing, our final balance is $1 million. That, my friends, is the power of compound interest. Now, before you leave to go start this investment, I need to show you one more incredible fact about compound interest. During all these examples, we've been depositing $300 monthly. Now, I'd like to make note that over time, your wealth will grow naturally as your salary grows naturally. On average, the typical individual will receive a 3% raise yearly. Now, you may have heard of this thing called lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep means the more you make, the more you spend. Rather than spending an extra 3% a year, you may want to take maybe 1 to 2% of your salary increase and increase this number. So let's just say you have the means to contribute $500 monthly at 25 years old. We're still keeping the interest rate the same as, like we mentioned before, 8% is the average rate of return in the long term. We'll say we'll retire in 40 years, and let's calculate this. Guys, one final incredible example of the power of compound interest with time. Time and patience is your friend here. You can see through this chart that by year 40, you have made $1.5 million in your interest alone. Your final balance is close to $2 million just by increasing your monthly deposit from $300 to $500. So in summary, I hope that this explains compound interest in a simpler, more visual explanation. I hope that you found this helpful. If you did, as always, please share this YouTube. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Have a great day, everyone.